Hello, everyone. Welcome to Middleton Nighttime Broadcast, episode 6, titled, I don't have an actual title. I'm sure I'll come up with something smart after this video is done.
Yeah, we
being
don't know.
recorded. We're kind of playing this episode a little more off the cuff, but we'll get into the discussion in a few minutes. For now, Ricky, do you have anything for the lovely icebreaker for episode 6 that you want to talk about?
Wow, episode 6. My tooth pain that I mentioned in my last episode's almost gone now, so it's pretty cool. Other than that, it's just been a week. It's been a normal ass boring week. So not really. Am I working on a project? I guess I'm working on music. That's kind of cool, right?
Oh, you should tell them about your video game catastrophe.
Oh my god. You know, I was gonna lead into that. Well, yeah, let's just start out with that bullshit. Okay, yeah, that was a huge thing that happened. I lied, by the way. I keep a folder on my desktop. And now typically it's like itch.io games, a couple emulators, but one specific emulator, which I use for my streams for KO the Kangaroo. You know how normal executables will create a file directory under program files x64 or whatever the hell it's called. You know what I'm talking about. This one doesn't do that. Instead, it puts it all in whatever folder or wherever you put it. If you put it on your fucking desktop, it's gonna be under desktop. There is no file path directory. It just, wherever it is, that's where it's going. And, well, I was a bit high, but I'm not blaming that. I was also stupid, or something, I don't know. I was drag and dropping shit like I would on a Mac, even though I'm using Windows, which was my first mistake. And I dragged and dropped a file into my trash can. And what I thought was weird at the time is I briefly read it. It said, "Are you sure you want to delete this?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I fucking do." And it never asked that. That's weird. And then deleted it. And then, like an hour later, I'm like, "Where the fuck is my game folder?" So I was trying to delete an image, and I was like, no way. Is that what that was about? I look in the trash can, it's not in there. There's like 20 other files that I deleted, but not that one. For some reason, it permanently deleted that one. And I was like, fuck! So I'm running around, scattering to find, other copies of those games that I owned, that I purchased legally. And, anyway, long story short, I finally got KO the Kangaroo back, and I had to do a lot of finagling, but I'm back to where we left off for the stream. I was so upset, not because my games were gone, but because the stream. I didn't want to, like, let people down, and that was the worst feeling. I'm like, oh no, oh no.
And to Ricky's credit, KO the Kangaroo, KO's company, the first game is kind of jank, and also punching as KO is like 95% useless since most enemies have like long sticks that they can just poke you with. But it's been a
not
journey.
A game you want to replay. All the way through, at least how far I am. So I had to cheat a bit. I did a level skip code, which you think would be you unlock all levels. No, I had to enter it in like 10 or 20 times. Whatever level I was on, if I was on level 20, I had to enter it in 20 times. It was not like 5 or 3 times. Yeah, so it was like up, left, right, A, B, A. Well, okay, I did that like 20 times. Now we're there. Everything's good now. But I guess in a good, like a good outlook of it is it got rid of a lot of the shovelware games I downloaded. So now I can kind of focus on having a good library of games focused for streaming, because I don't know if people know, I probably mentioned it, but I own an actual Dreamcast as of last month. So I've been actually playing the games, in reality, and going, this would be a good stream game, or, oh, that one's crap, I shouldn't play that one. So now I can kind of tool that better for the audience, I feel. But yeah, don't put import shit on your desktop. That shit's on my external hard drive now, which I'm not going to accidentally delete that, ever. It's safe on there, it's good, it's golden. I felt so stupid.
Yeah, I guess I can say, like, for my case.
Oh no.
So today, and for the sake of privacy, I'm not going to give any specifics, but here's the thing. When it comes to this podcast, and I tweeted something out about this earlier today, but when it's the type of person I am, because I'm very punctual. If I say I'm going to be at a certain time, a specific place, Ricky's keyed out his calendar for it, etc., etc., like, I will say verbatim, like my tweet because I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, go for it.
I may not be a perfect person, but when I give my friends my word about being around for a project, I'm there like promised. I think about myself and my friends' time instead of only thinking about myself like some people may. I am there for the people I love, which
I
this
love that.
here's the thing, this project Ricky and I are doing is purely a passion project that we both have said like in Telegram messages back and forth. If we didn't have a, because like basically what you guys see on camera might be like a 2% boost more than Ricky and I are off recording, but for the most part not much changes. This dynamic is usually like this unless we're in a call with like 7 people and it's a friggin' frat party, but for the most part it's down here. But let's just say both of us have been in times where projects have fallen through because there is a weaker link, and it takes the fun out of things, and especially when that weaker link causes, like I've said this all the time. It's kind of like, oh, you're waiting to hang out with your friend like all day, and then they're like, hey, I need to like a minute before recording, and you're like, well, I just wasted my whole day. So
Yeah, well, I freaking hate that because I've been a part of a lot of projects throughout my online, I guess, life, if I'm gonna call it that. But a lot of projects have fallen through, whether it be game design, which, God, there's been a lot of that, musical projects, streaming projects, and a lot of them have come to fruition, finished off, ended decently. But a more majority of them ended with just, oh, I got tired of the project, so I didn't want to do it, or, oh, I can't record today, and it's like you said, last minute. And I'm like, look, I get that, but tell me ahead of time. I literally will take time out of my day to do something if a friend wants to do it. It's a big deal to me, but to some people, it's just not, and they just, they see not showing up as like, oh, what's the matter? I just couldn't make it. Like, nah. It's like, dude, this is a team project. We both took time out of our day to create, to make this beautiful thing. And I don't know, it's just some people don't put the effort.
It's important to do this because here's the thing.
Right.
Ricky, in relationships, whether that be a friendship, something more serious into romantic relationships, or a working environment, there's an expectation that everyone is going to pull their weight. And whether it's a personal project like this, where Ricky and I are just doing this because we thoroughly enjoy the process, or something you're getting paid for, and like, it also hurts when you trying to be the person that is accountable is the one that gets, sorry, I'm trying not to use bad words.
I'm sorry if I swore already. I'm just so hopped up on caffeine today.
It's fine, because it's actually funny. I was going to say this after the icebreaker was done, but it's funny when I'm recording, and then there's a swear, and then it just dips out for like the middle of a second, and then comes back. I don't know why. I find it to be the funniest thing. But no, like, to wrap up my little part on this is my goal when a lot of people work with me, and it's not perfect, mind you, but is to create an atmosphere where things are calm. Because like when you all come into this, I kind of think of it almost like as an ASMR video, where I would hope that you guys can listen to this maybe when you're laying in bed, powering down. This is in the background, or maybe you're on another tab or program or game, what have you.
Ooh, should I start talking this kind of voice? Hey, you've worked hard today. You deserve this.
Oh wait. Okay, this is gonna like screw up my audio a little bit, but let me just do this real fast. Wait.
Okay. Oh, you can do ASMR.
I just go down to the 10 decibels and then start talking real low. No, not gonna do that. People did not sign up for ASMR from me, and I. Oh God, no! I don't pay you enough to do that, Ricky. I don't pay him at all. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh
I'm
God.
unemployed. No kidding.
You know what's the worst thing that I hate hearing all the time?
What?
I'll pay you an exposure. I'm like,
Oh, gee, my favorite. How many followers do you have? 12. Fuck off.
yeah. I can't. If you pay me,
You know our friend Mega?
exposure-
There's a pretty famous YouTuber that was like having he was requesting people for art, and I shoved Mega his way. I'm not gonna out the YouTuber, but he's pretty popular in the gaming world. And dude was working with Mega. Mega was making animation for him, and when it came down to payment, dude's like, "Oh well, I thought you were doing this for free. Well, I mean, I could pay you an exposure." He literally said that. I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like I thought that was a meme. It happened to him.
Mhm.
And Mega haggled and got a free T-shirt out of it, but good lord. And the
Just a
dude ended up
t-shirt.
not even using the animation. I guess because he had to pay money or whatever. What a freaking bitch, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, watch out there, guys. Make sure payment is up front. Don't delay.
That's how I do it. It's
Oh.
either it's upfront or you don't get anything. Obviously, that's a big reason why I just don't like to do commissions anymore. Like, I'll do underground stuff for friends if they like really need it, but
Right.
most of the time I have a professional job. I don't really see myself needing that. So, I'm not doing commissions, but that is just because the internet is the way it is, which ties in to our topic of this conversation. So,
Oh, nicely done.
so I just want to make
Wow.
sure that I put this out here. I don't think this topic will be heavy, but this might, hit for a few of you guys. And we talked about this before, where a lot of times it feels like, we're talking to you guys directly. This is probably going to be feeling a little different. This is going to be as if Ricky and I are talking more to each other, and you're kind of like that weird third awkward bystander. So, yeah, enjoy. So Ricky, I guess in your best, like,
Mhm.
thingamadoodle,
What thingamadoodle?
explain the topic. Explain, like, your reasoning and how we've gotten to today for the podcast.
Okay. I do want to preface. We might have more pauses than usual because there is no list, there is no script as per the past 5 or whatever. 5, right? It's episode 6, right? Anyway,
This is 6, yeah.
past 5 episodes, we normally have some bullet points. Not today. So we're gonna try to have a discussion based on, and when we try to word this right, when you're online etiquette, where you're in a chat room, maybe a Discord lobby, and some people feel the right, like they're entitled to know every little nitpicky part of what's going on in your day-to-day. I want to talk about that and how, like, I feel like in the past that was never a thing, and now more so than ever, people feel like they have to be super open about everything, or otherwise they might get canceled or they might get harassed. And it just, I miss when you didn't have to worry too much about all that,
Yes.
That's what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, and there's gonna be like 2 sides of this, and they might just end up blending together. We're not separating this into sections.
Right.
So I can give you a gauge, Ricky, on why people talk like this, but it's been something since 2016, and then got a lot more intense during 2020, when all the YouTubers and everyone was getting off the internet.
That's a great time scale, actually, because the whole Leafy is here, and all those like content creators that were very apprehensive towards certain people did create a environment where people were very aggressive, I guess.
Mhm.
I'm not blaming the YouTubers. I would just, thing is, people get inspired by celebrities and other people that they end up making that their whole personality. So it's more so the fan base of certain content creators, not specifically Leafy, obviously. I just mean there was like a whole era of just YouTube and streamers where it was just this rude boy era or whatever, where it was very like Jackass, if that makes sense. Like everyone just didn't give a shit. It was
Well,
the
it's
Wild
like-
West.
Well, it's like, what was it? So a lot of I really, like, as you know, I don't really follow a lot of the, like, and I'm saying this loosely, but like the weird YouTubers, the controversial YouTubers, the T channels, the world star people, I don't follow that anymore. Like, I think the only time I ever really got into that was a Keemstar video, and then I found out I was like, Keemstar's salt of this earth trash.
Fucking douchebag. Fuck Keemstar. I don't normally say that shit, but like that dude literally is attracted to younger people. It's just creepy. Fuck that guy.
Well, it's like Daz, I think his name's Daz Black. He's a great YouTuber from Britain. But he literally, like, Keemstar is like, hey, do you want to come on for an interview? And he's like, no, you're trash. I was like, okay, honest opinion, love it. But yeah, in that time period, obviously now there's still people reporting on stale drama tea that, like,
they're just trying hard out there for drama.
But it's like no one. Again, this comes up to the conversation of, like you were saying, you don't see YouTubers putting anything out anymore that they don't want you to know, because the edgy, the dark, the old, the not socially acceptable on the internet stuff, you can't even, like, you can't even touch that with a 10-foot pole and half joke about it, even if it's something dark, or else you're going to have about 1,000 people in your thing with a laser pointer already pointing at your forehead before you even say it. And I'm like, but here's the thing. In that message I sent you, that night when this was all coming up, sadly, just like so many trends, we are at the most PC we are ever going to be, and it's going to crash. Because anything that becomes like too, I don't want to say PC culture is radical, but it's definitely like, it's so easy to just fall into the radical conversation of, I don't want to offend anyone because I'm not going to be able to deal with the repercussions. But it's like, no. I'm going to get hate for saying this, but don't follow the narrative. Do not follow the narrative. Be you. Because, God, I wish I had this. I wish I had the quote again. It was what I sent you, like, it was what I sent you a while ago. But it's like, how you gonna win if you ain't good within? Which is basically saying, like, don't focus on the negative parts about yourself, but don't dismiss them either. Work on them. And when you walk into a room full of people, it's not if they like you. Sorry, I got the ass backwards because it's hard. It's a hard analogy. It's okay. You're going into a room, not wanting like people like you. It's if you like them, and that's obviously not being an asshole about it, but it's, you're making your mark. You're making your first impression, and if they don't like you, they can flub off.
Well, but that's a huge, and this is what I hate. I have to explain more on that. At face value, I understand what you mean because I know you. Now, here's the issue with that. What you say right there there's some people, some of my friends actually, like 2 or 3, that I feel like would hear that and think, you're right, I should say the F word, the N word, and just be me, because, like, fuck it. When in reality,
but see,
yes, you can, but you're going to face the repercussions for your action.
There's a lovely thing where it's like, yes, you can do that, but there's still the definition of, you need tact in a conversation.
Yes, perfect way.
Because there's a difference in having to over-explain yourself every single time, for just saying like, hey, can I get a thing of water because I'm thirsty? It's like, can I get a thing of water? That already implies that you're thirsty. So you don't need to say the second part. But because someone's going to already ask you, why do you want to go get a thing of water? You're already thinking that preconceived question. Therefore, you say, because I need water. Because you don't want to hear the question because you know you're going to get asked it already when it's unnecessary for the person to ask that question because you're getting a bottle of water. It's rhetoric.
I'm gonna shove it up my ass. What do you fucking think I'm gonna do with this thing?
You just put it up your hole, squeeze the bottle.
Enema.
Don't do that, people. Don't do that.
You will shit immediately.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh. But
yeah, it.
You know that's true. That is a way to look at that.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like that. There's the God. Actually, you know what? Just because I really want to make sure I don't flub this up, let me see something real fast. Definition of tact.
Definition of tact: adroitness and sensitivity in dealing with others or with difficult issues.
Yeah, which, to put it in more layman's terms, when you're using tact, you are. Oh gosh, actually, you know what might be a better thing rather than tact? This is probably a more. What's the word? Or the term? It's probably more layman's or common or slang term. Using tact is reading the room. And
yes, that is a great way to put it. A lot of people I've noticed lack that now.
And, you know, it's fine. Like, we obviously live in a world where there are some people who are socially awkward, have maybe disabilities or disorders where, you know, reading the room can be hard.
Right.
But, like, obviously the only... And this is the only thing I'll put out there for Ricky and I. We have ADHD. But, like, that's the worst we got. We don't really have, like, anything super debilitating to where we can't read the room. But yeah, like we can say, like, say just for example, we had any like you said, like anyone like African American descent that was in our conversation, and someone randomly drops the like N-word, for example. It's like, okay, yeah, you're gonna face the repercussions of just saying that willy-nilly while knowing that there's like people in the group chat that word is offensive to, or even just something as simple as like. For me, like, say I went to like a professional function, but I go there in bright neon pink flamingo shorts and no shirt, screaming, like, I couldn't even think of something profane enough because my brain doesn't go there with work, but it's like doing that, and then it's like, you wonder why you got fired later.
Yeah, you know, I'm loud and very vocal about my opinions and unfiltered. I wonder why people don't want to talk to me. It's fucking crazy.
But it's like...
But maybe if I had a little tact and I was still myself, like, that's the difference. If you have tact and a way to go about it, you can still be that.
Is there, like, Ricky, I guess, because I asked you this before, and I'll be completely 100% with you. I can't remember anything that you said in the message about how you got, like, what sprung this all up? Because I feel like we need kind of like a core grounder for this. If you can say it, you can exclude if there's people or
well, see, that's the thing.
things.
It's happened so many times that I can't like pick a certain scenario. Like it's almost become
broad spectrum.
Yeah, like it's all one big memory. It's just a thing that just happens so consistently that I don't think about it too much about a specific scenario. But let's say I'm hanging with a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like, oh wow, I really didn't like that game. You can't just say that. Because then they're like, well, why not? You hate that game? I love that game. Like, they become offended, like you said I hate your friend. It's like, no, it just didn't click with me. And they're like, well, what didn't click with you? What about this and that? And then you tell them, okay, well, the gameplay was kind of monotonous. The main character storyline was a little drab. I didn't like it. Well, you just don't like those kind of games. You're like, it becomes an attack. And I'm like, I was just saying I didn't like the game. Why is this becoming such a personal, in-depth thing about my character when I just, like, you're not allowed to just not like something anymore. People have to dig, and find out why, and then they think that they can, like, flip it and make you like it again when you're stating that you've already made up your mind on it. Or, you know, vice versa, if you're just playing a game or something, or not playing a game, but, like, watching a movie, and you're just like, I'm not really feeling this. I don't know. Everyone's just picking.
Pigging.
But they're just picking too deep at shit. Like, it's just frustrating. You know, fuck me if I don't like every Marvel movie. You know what I mean? Like, there's literally people out there that told me I'm an asshole or that I just didn't get the point. And I'm like, no, honestly, honey, I don't think the fucking Miss Marvel is it for me, you know? It just wasn't as good as the other ones.
Yeah, I feel that on the way of, like, I have so many friends say, I don't like this game. But it's like, okay, stop playing it. And then they get mad at me for just saying, stop playing the game. And then they give me all the reasons why they still play it.
Right.
But I'm like, you don't like it. And I'm getting tired about hearing your bitching about how much you don't like this game, like, genre. And you could just easily drop it. Cold turkey. You could drop it.
Exactly.
And go play. Because the friend I hear it from the most is, like, a shooters person. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, of course, because that has a very toxic community. Go play single player games like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta or any like long-term RPG like Kingdom Hearts or the anthology of the Final Fantasy series.
There's certain people on here that either overshare, or when they do share, like you said, oh, this game is ass, I hate it, it's hard. And then you say, well, stop playing it. Then, like I said, it becomes a personal attack. And I'm like, dude, we're just talking. We're on Discord. We're hanging out. Why is everything so serious and touchy? You know what I mean? If I said, fuck McDonald's, I don't like their burgers. I'm sorry for all the swearing. You just keep censoring me at this point. Literally, I've had people almost start a fight in a group call because one person said Whataburger sucked and the other one said that Shake Shack was better. Like,
Also that's like... That's so regional too, because
right.
It's like for anyone who wonders, I'm mid East Coast. We don't get Whataburger, we don't have Jack in the Box, so I can't judge that. Like I could judge McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's.
You only know what's close to you.
Yeah. So it's like Ricky's saying, it's like, yeah, it's like, let's just say I don't like Whataburger. It's like, okay, yeah, we don't have that here, therefore. It's like we can't judge, like, if we said, like, yeah, we just don't have Whataburger here, so we don't care for it. And then someone's like, well, blah, 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 blah.
When it comes to Whataburger, fast food, and diners that are like chains, it's such kind of like a moot point because, for example, Domino's where I live is really good. It is very, very good. They have great employees. The ingredients are fresh. Every Pizza Hut in my area sucks. It's horrible. But if I went to Tennessee, which I have before, and I had Pizza Hut, it'd be the best food I've ever had in my life. And then Domino's sucks. It's very regional. So whenever you say, oh, Burger King shit, odds are you just have a shitty Burger King with shitty employees. It's not their fault. It's such a regional thing. You can go to some McDonald's and have shits all night long. You go to another one, you're like, oh, that was the best, freshest food ever. You know?
So I want to pose this too.
Yeah,
this is not saying that you guys obviously can't over-explain. We understand, because I've had tumultuous stuff happen between friends this past 2 weeks, and a lot of them will try to defend their points, and a lot of people do over-explain, almost as a trauma response, considering the fact that millennials and Gen Z haven't necessarily always had the best support systems, and you have to defend yourself every waking moment of the day. And
God, is this therapy?
It could be, but we're not licensed.
I think you're right. The whole trauma response, that fucking touched me on a next level. Continue. Sorry, I was just like, damn.
By the way, disclaimer: we're not therapists. Please, dear God, don't take what we
take our advice, quite literally.
Ricky, no, because you know some dumbass motherfucking Trisha Paytas looking hoe is gonna take this response.
I listened to Middleton Nytetime podcast, and they told me to just gaslight myself, and it didn't work. It made my mental health worse.
I wonder why.
I wonder why.
No, seriously, it is a trauma response, but it also is the fact of it's really hard to also do this with this podcast. Is pausing to think. Because normally if we pause, we lose our spot.
Yes, and that's an ADHD thing too, I feel.
Oh, well, yes. We have
if I ever talk fast, it's so that I don't forget what the fuck I'm about to say. Just disclaimer.
I have a very fragile attention span, and what will make me also get really mad is if I have like a brilliant thing. And it's happened also in the past with our podcast, but that's how the brain works.
It's the way
When you
things
have
go. Yeah.
that's 1 second I could have a brilliant conversation topic. Next thing it's hamster dance. But it is a trauma response, and that'll be a part of this because that's also where my more side of this discussion reigns. Oh, that's gonna be dark.
I'm glad you have that side though that needs to be touched on.
But let me pull this back just to a more like us situation.
For sure.
Again, Ricky and I are creators, so if our teams flub, or our platform is bleh, or the people that are watching are and heinous, and there are those people. Not everyone is that way, but you know, I've been on YouTube on and off for, oh god, I started in 2012, so 10 years.
I was gonna say 10 years.
And you know, I know my way around YouTube. Do I have to deal with the large floods of bots and millions of comments a day like the giant like top 10 YouTubers use? No, and thank freaking god I don't, because Ricky and I had this conversation before of, if this ever blew up, I almost feel like I wouldn't want to do it anymore if it blew up, because the problem is right now we still kind of over explain ourselves on this podcast, but that's to give you guys the details. But if this blew up, okay, then it's like, oh gosh, here we go. Now we're gonna have to be literally a PR stunt every episode because we say one thing that doesn't fit 2022. We're dead. We are dead. People are gonna come for the Twitter, our jobs, our little jugular.
Maybe if I think part of that is establishing your brand. If you're just known for being like a certain way, then your core audience, the people that know you, are going to defend you on that. Be like, oh no, these guys are just like this. Like they just say offensive shit once in a while, but they're nice people. But I feel like that's important too. Like you have to set up the playing field for what and how you want people to engage with you, just based on your own opinions.
With also keeping in mind, people need to respect boundaries.
Yes.
And also not have a parasocial relationship with a person online that gives you a minutia of their life. Because I'm going to tell you guys, this podcast, this is a butt. Like this is like a hair follicle on a butt cheek of how much you guys get to actually like know of us. And even then, this is still like going through at least 3 or 4 coffee filters, because we have to really think about what we say, because it's sad that, you know, this conversation is not over explaining yourself, but this conversation also does fall into the, we're trying to not over explain ourselves, but we also have to heavily filter ourselves, because again, it keeps circling back on each other, because if we don't, we're gonna die.
It's a good balance, I feel.
Kind of. It can run its course of people saying, it's like, oh my gosh, did I say something in this episode that's going to get us flubbed up? But it's like, also this episode was so great, we explained so many things, but also did we over-explain something? You know, it goes into, like, morbid fantasy.
Well, you end up watching the episode, like, 5-6 times before you even upload, though.
That is true, and there have been
So you're like our PR team.
Yeah, but...
HR, that's the word.
There was truly, and I think I told people this on episode 3 or something, when we talked about the one movie, 12 Years as a Slave, and I talked about how I absolutely loved that film, but I felt an urge and need to hyper explain it, that, again, I don't agree with anything that happened in that movie, because obviously in nowadays...
Are you telling me you think slavery's bad?
Yes. Very much so.
Okay.
Oh my god, yes.
Good.
Bitch, you gonna paint me as a bad person? No, I'm kidding. But it's
if anyone watching this is stupid enough to think that we are racist, fuck out of here. I don't want you as a viewer. Like, get out of here. Fuck off.
But you know, it does that you know what you say that, but I do fervently believe that there are people that would hold me accountable for kind of speaking out my ass because of my skin color. Obviously, you guys can see my friggin' skin color on my character, but it's like... over-explaining is a safety measure because of the internet. But I personally have to use it because it's a trauma response. Because if I do not over-explain myself, someone is going to assume something, and because that person assumes something, if they assume and it's bad, then it falls into a freaking battle of trying to explain your point about how you didn't mean to offend so-and-so, and then by the end, you don't even want to talk to them because you're tired, because you had to do an unnecessary fight because of 3 words.
I think people assume the worst out of everyone these days. Because, like, right there, I know you're talking about a movie that you watched that was impactful, that you really liked, but like you said, there might be someone out there who thought you didn't explain it enough, that maybe thought you were just a privileged white boy, whatever. And
I mean, the privileged white boy thing, that's true, but I try not to act like it.
well, not in terms of, like, financial or anything like that, but in terms of, like...
Personality?
No, because we're white.
Oh, yeah.
Because of just purely on that. And... I don't know.
But then that's again taking something at face value, rather than learning the individual soul beneath the shell.
You're wording that very well. I was trying to, like, word that decently. Again, I'm trying to explain myself properly. Overthinking. But, you know, there are certain instances, like now, where that's needed, you know?
Well, yeah, especially because, like...
It's a touchy subject.
I'll be blunt. The world doesn't like white people. I'll be blunt. Now, that's obviously broad spectrum, and there are a lot of things, and
We're horrible.
And here's the thing. No race is a hive mind. No person is automatically just linked to a governmental hive mind of how they act. Ricky and I, for the most part, I'm gonna tell y'all, him and I, we would rather you leave us the hell alone. We get to be with our friends. And then if, like, who knows, if you're a random person that watches this podcast, we don't even know you. And who knows, maybe down the road, like, we discover that, hey, this person is in our Discord group and we're friends with them and we didn't even know that. Cool. But it's like, to be completely honest, Ricky and I just want to hang with our friends, hang with loved ones, play video games, listen to music, and be left alone because the world is on fire. And, well, we love doing this for you all. There's a lot of discussion that Ricky and I do through voice messages about how we should tackle an episode so that we don't offend you all. But
I want everyone to feel welcome. I love every way of life you may be. As long as you're not a freaking... I don't even know if I can say this, but I guess censor it. No, yeah, well, yes. Don't be a pedophile. Fuck you. If you're a Nazi, pedophile, or any fucked up thing that is outside the social norm, obviously, we're against that. But
social norm is in illegal stuff.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, well, yeah, especially that one. Anything illegal and anything that isn't, like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, socially, like, oh, fuck off with that, you know. I don't know. If you're LGBT, black, white, any freaking race, we want you to feel welcome.
Yeah.
And if we ever fuck up on that, we will address that.
Plus, I mean, Ricky's an orange fox.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't get any more outlandish than that. No, I'm kidding.
We have a furry and a freaking human on screen right now.
We have
We
have a furry and we have a twink.
The both genders. It's a joke.
It's a joke.
I'm gender fluid. It's okay, bro.
Thank me, queen.
Well, there we go. See, there's some instances where oversharing and over-explaining is needed. I do agree. You know, jumping in, God, last week, I thought it was stupid that we shouldn't do it, but, you know, maybe there is a time and place for it, but I think maybe it is a trauma thing, because, like, everyone's getting canceled, everyone's getting deleted, and defriended, and then fights start, and we're all just avoiding fights. We don't want to fight, we just want to hang out.
And obviously, like, obviously I'm not monetized, so I can say this, but it's also like in the past year, like alongside the pandemic deaths, trigger warning, suicide rates have skyrocketed 10% in the last 2 years because of online bullying and harassment. And I'm like, it's like, what do these people do? Why, like, how much, like, and I'm saying this bluntly, how boring does your real life have to be to go out of your way to start unnecessary drama rather than enjoying the mundane, boring day-to-day life of just watching YouTube, playing video games, being on your cell phone, texting friends, and making good relationships? But no, you have to go out of your way to start drama that then people who didn't even know this drama was about you, okay, now that person that you're attacking has to defend themselves, hyper explain themselves, and if they're a content creator, make an arduous long post or YouTube video for blah. Sorry, was that too much?
God, man, you just fucking said it how it is, you know?
I mean, there's no other way to say it. Because we've gotten to the point now, too, where these drama channels, they don't hold any weight.
No.
Because like I said...
Well, they're reaching for straws nowadays. You know, I used to be involved in, like, a couple lolcows that I kept up with way back in the day. I
But now it's
stopped
like-
because, like, obviously I feel like certain people just have it rough and it sucks and, you know, people grow up, you fall out of things, you realize it's bad, it's shitty, but, you know, those drama channels that would follow those people would be like, oh my god, can you believe they bought eggs? They said they didn't like eggs 3 years ago. What a hypocrite. It's like, are we really doing this right now?
But
fucking
it's like,
eggs? Like, fuck
you-
off.
but you can't say that, because here's the thing. Yeah, we've said, like, so many times, like, ago, like, and Ethan and I recently watched Anthony's interview with Sean, was like, something Jax said, like, years and years ago. He, like, said, like, oh, I never do merch or this stuff, but you
Now he's doing
grow,
merch.
but you grow and you do all this stuff, and you're looking for more creative outlets, because it's like, you want to grow. And here's the thing. I'm sure when, like, Mark and Jack make merch for the Cloak brand, or Jack made coffee and stuff, it's like you want to promote your own things because you have a lot of pride and joy
Right.
in the project and the people who are doing the fervent stuff behind it. And when people say, and this hurts me so much, and I feel so bad every single time any creator gets this, I liked the old you.
Oh.
It's like you really liked the older, less articulate, fast talking, not thinking because of dead air is bad brain cell.
I don't miss that.
I don't either. And do you?
Well,
here's
that's the thing too. Well, okay, what's like that YouTuber who suddenly likes eggs now? Things change. You change your mind. You grow, and you know, obviously it's eggs, but let's take that to a different level with like you said, not being comfortable with dead air, not being able to speak slowly and articulate what you want to say. You've grown, and to say things like that imply that I miss the old you when you didn't grow. You know, like, it's kind of an insult at that point.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Old me faked a lot of his enthusiasm
Same.
because I felt like that was needed.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't the, like, oh god, I don't even remember how I used to open up my thing. Well, actually, I do remember, and it's cringy because, again, it was a part of being fake. It was like, hey everyone, welcome to Mega Fracture Games. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah, you were like, hey everyone, welcome back to Mega Fracture Games. Today we're gonna play Outlast, episode 14.
Yeah, because again, I was emulating YouTubers that I saw rather than
Right.
being me. And here's the thing. Reki and I used to have a mutual. His name is Scrander Sephora. He still, like, makes content, and he's out there, but he's not really on YouTube anymore.
No, now
And-
he's on like what's that game? It's not VR chat. It's the other VR one.
Out of my realm, Ricky. But
Yeah, I'm trying to think something VR. Anyway, he makes he makes 3D models on there, and he's doing a good job. But yeah, back in the day, he used to be a YouTuber. Continue. I know where you're going with this. I want you to finish your thought.
But his personality and mine split because I started recording way more with live streams with my cousin Christian, who no longer is on YouTube either, and his videos are since
stand
credited.
Christian.
But Christian and I became more like ourselves, which is, you know, down here, it's not super fast, and a lot of the times we would play Dark Souls and a lot of games that we have to concentrate, so there was silence. But there were still the, you know, funny moments here and there that made it into montages and all this stuff. But yeah, that diverged, and that was because I was done with being this fake person that always had to be talking 24/7, and now I was actually pretty happy that I left YouTube when I did, because between 2016 to now, I don't think Mega Fracture Games would have ever ended up on drama channels. That's not the thing I'm getting at here.
No,
but
I don't think so either.
I was the most absorbed into YouTube when I was a part of it than I ever am now, because it's like I post the video, a couple hours later I'll see how it's doing.
Oh, you got obsessed with the numbers and the likes and shit?
No.
Okay.
But it's just seeing like, hey, did anyone watch this? Cool, people watched it. Ayo. Semendifique. Okay, bye-bye. But the internet is going back to, again, I think we talked about this in our 2000s video that got scrapped because it got corrupted.
I remember that.
But
that's such a good one.
We talked about this. Even though you're in your personal home, when you go on the internet, you are going into public, and
yeah,
if you are not going to, and you know what, ballsy to you if you say whatever you want in public and face repercussions on a daily basis, and that probably could only be with a handful of people and maybe someone with a phone. But when you put it on the internet, you are putting your data, your thoughts, and whoever knows what else to the internet for trillions and trillions of people to see. And what you put on the internet is there forever in data. It never vanishes. And you don't say stuff on the internet that you wouldn't say in real life.
I agree. I feel like there's a lot of people out there online who hide behind their avatar. Like, and not like us, where, okay, you got your blue-haired guy, and I got my fox dude. But more so, they feel a sense of, like, no one's gonna find out who I am. I'm gonna say whatever I want. And they're just the most nastiest, vilest things that you've ever heard of. That you know they would never say in real life. Ever.
Well, that too, and it's like,
it's the anonymity of it. They think they're not gonna get caught.
But here's also the thing. Ricky and our anonymity doesn't mean crap. We do this stuff for just the sake of us in a creative way for you guys to look at us, other than, you know, two white dudes Discord profile pictures sitting on screen. It's for something else. It's for flavor. But
it's to make it stand out. It's something different. It's arts. Yeah. We
like,
know we're not actually these characters.
But like, if the government, if someone wanted to, IP address search, somehow coding, whatever, people could find you. That's how it is
easily.
Nowadays. And that, again, that's, you know, something we brought up in Telegram messages was, you're safe if you're a nobody. If you're a somebody, everyone wants a piece of you, and
all eyes are always on you.
And it's exhausting. Like, you probably couldn't even make a Pac-Man video without someone wanting to try to DDoS
offensive. He eats too much food. It promotes eating disorders.
He's got jaundice.
Why is he yellow?
Ricky, oh god, there was such a perfect God, I wish I had the, like, voice message, but I really did like what you said in the doxing thing, where it's like, anyone can do it. Like, I'm gonna say this lightly. because this was pretty hot shiz back in a few days ago. Probably 2 months ago now. When someone DDoSed the Supreme Court's credit card information and home addresses, and people started like throwing crap at their houses and trying to drain their bank accounts. It's like,
Bro.
people are wild. And here's the thing. Just sort of round this out, because wow, somehow we're already at the 50-minute mark.
Sheesh, oh my gosh. What?
Yeah. Jeez. Wow, that went really fast. Luckily, we record up to an hour and a half at max. So.
Yeah.
But, I'm trying to think of how I want to say this, because I want to make it sound kind of smart. If I could give advice for you all, when it comes to any space in the world, obviously, feeling comfortable in that environment is number freaking one. But when it comes to kind of explaining yourself, a lot of times you might notice Ricky and I use this example of dipping your toes in. And a lot of times when people say that, it is easing yourself into a conversation. Because if you full on throw yourself at like, I like Lord of the Rings, and I like Gandalf, and I like this and that and this and that, and you don't give the other person a chance to breathe and process, that is actually pretty much a turnoff. And
Yes.
everything you say is going to start going in one ear and out the other, where it's like, how would I say this? Say Ricky and I met for the first time. And, you know, I can tell it's like, hey, you have an animal avatar. That's great. I love X colors. And then it's like, you let them respond. And then you go back and forth, sort of tampering through topics. And it's like, oh, you like the color blue? So do I. And then you maybe give your reasons. And you kind of give yourself out in bursts that you feel comfortable. Obviously, that will vary from person to person. But you do it, you put yourself out there to a friend in chunks. Because if you do it right away, like a tidal wave, it's going to be intimidating and almost scary to be that open with someone who probably isn't ready to be that open with you. And that goes with the internet as well, where another thing Ricky and I do is, again, reading the room, or when it comes to these podcasts, feeling out the conversation. Because if the conversation ain't going nowhere, you're not going to want to engage.
Right.
Unlike this, where it's like Ricky's actively engaged, he wants to talk, he wants to say all this stuff. Therefore, you know the conversation is palpable.
That is, especially online, people don't think of it. They're like, oh, it's online, it's easy, it's fast. No, it's kind of the same as real life. You still have to, like you said, give people room to breathe and process everything you're saying. You can't just be like, I like this, I like blah, blah, blah. Like, no offense, but you're not the king of the world or queen of the world. You're not the most interesting person ever. The world does not revolve around you. Let the other person talk. Let them talk about their interests, because that's what you do. That's how a conversation goes.
Yeah, and you know, that example that gets thrown around a lot. Like, the world doesn't revolve around you, but I don't know why this version of it always hits me so hard. You are not a main character.
Yeah.
You're not in some isekai. You're not in a video game. You are someone that is working with 100 other adults. Let's just, put it in the adult spectrum for our demographic here.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you think Ricky and I know what we're doing all the time, every single day? No. Half the time, we're having an internal monologue with a voice inside our head that is telling us 50 different things at once. And we're just guessing if we're doing things right sometimes. God, Ricky, if we ever have an ADHD episode, I'm going off.
We should one day just have a well thought out ADHD discussion. Maybe bring in some other people with ADHD, get their experiences. That'd be kind of sick, actually.
I think what's, you know what? I'll give a little baby thing, a little baby conversation about ADHD in our wrap up. But it's like,
Yeah, it's not real. It's all in your head.
I mean,
It's just a myth. Those pills are full of sugar.
even if that was true, though, placebo effects can be a strong thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just fucking around, by the way.
A part of me, when I also gauge this, is it's so hard. I think that's why I was so adamant, along with how the conversation topic kind of came up with the person I dislike. But I'm defensive about people wanting to over-explain themselves as a trauma response. But it is also so hard when you're on the receiving end of that over-explaining to sometimes care. And again, this also kind of ties in tandem with being ADHD, because I finish people's sentences. I already know what they're probably going to say before they say it, because they probably have said this story or this analogy 50 times before. And I just already know what they're going to say, and I want them to stop saying it. But I don't truly want them to stop saying it, because then that's shutting down a conversation to where they felt comfortable. Now they no longer feel comfortable because you shut them down.
God, I feel that. All the time. I have a friend who still does that. Actually. And I spoke with him the other day. I'm like, hey, you know, it really throws me off when you interrupt me halfway through my sentence. And you're just assuming what I'm going to say next. Like, could you, be more aware of that? And, you know, that's all you have to say. I feel like that's the thing, too. Don't be afraid of being, like, a little awkward or bringing up a situation. Best thing you can do is bring it up. Don't be passive-aggressive. Just bring it up. Tackle it face on. Address the issue.
Yeah,
Get the awkwardness out of the way,
What has been... Okay. I don't know if you're going to have, like, the worst of the worst in recent times, or the best of the best, or just even awkward. What's something that I posed to you recently that you were like, oh, wow, I kind of have to take a step back and think about a better response than just saying this off the cuff? Like, has there been anything I've sent you recently where you're like, that sort of thing, where you just had to think about it a little bit more? Because you and I are not afraid to tackle some stuff.
Yeah, there's always, any friend of mine, there's always times where I'm like, should I go off on this? Or, does it matter? And you kind of have to feel it out and gauge it out. 90% of the time, I'm like, okay, well, one of us is heated right now, and there's no real drama. I'm just very angry, so I should shut up. And then I do. And then you know what? 4 hours later, I was right. I feel fine again.
And I think the problem is like, I can't say things that you've come to me from, because, they're very personal.
Right.
Stuff.
Oh, there's certain life experiences you'll just never experience, and that's just the same thing with me. I won't experience stuff that you've experienced, and that's life.
Yeah, it's like recently my friend Kevin, who much less fortunate person growing up just because of his state and living situations in life. But it's like something I had brought to me that I really didn't like hearing, and I still don't like hearing, is I dress designer to him. Like, going to Macy's, H&M, Sears, Burlington, that's designer to him. Versus designer to me is Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, Louis Vuitton. That's designer to me. But...
Right. Yeah, that's what I always thought of.
But it's like... When you... I live middle upper class because of my family. I'm born into that. So... I've tried to do a lot of growing, but there's still instances where someone who is less fortunate than I am will look at me like I am crazy. Because it's like, even a conversation topic came up about me making chicken soup with chicken breast, which is a very sought after cut of chicken. But to me, it's chicken, it's food. It's something that, like, if I want to make homemade chicken soup, and that's the only chicken we have, and my family and I were just used to using that in soups and stuff, I'm gonna use it. But to someone like that, like someone,
yeah, you don't put a second thought into it.
But to someone else, that cut of chicken should be reserved for like grilling, searing, smoking, all that stuff. And that's just an aspect of life that I'm never going to experience. And does that make me a bad person for using chicken breast and chicken soup? That's
Yes.
subjective. Yes. But like,
How dare
that's
you?
subjective. And for me, it's always hard because I even mentioned this too, where I was talking with this person and it was like, I always thought what my characters wore and all this stuff. Sure, some wear designer stuff. Like my character Danny, he's rich as hell.
Yeah, he
So
would wear them.
Yeah, but I was thinking like a lot of the clothes that like I was putting on my characters, some of them are fantasy, I know. So some of them look a little exotic or, what's the term? Like Neo Paris, but others are like they're in a hoodie, like a hoodie with a white torso, black sleeves,
Or
and
tank
3
top.
stripes. Yeah. So it's like I don't think about that stuff. Like my life is decal clothes, soft stuff, like a cotton polyester blend shirt that's super smooth and soft to the touch because I have sensory issues. But to someone else, it's like, no, that's designer. Unless you're getting like a solid wife beater, white shirt, or tank top, you are a designer. And that is just something that I'll never experience because that is a different lifestyle, a different community, a different like socio-economical geographical area. So
I've experienced being pretty freaking poor. A lot of handouts from the church and a lot of budgeting. And I've also experienced, at least now, being in the middle class, slightly above. I'd say just middle class, in my opinion. I'm like a middle, not
like
making bad.
as like a Floridian, it's middle class.
Right, which is different than someone else who might live in like Arizona or California, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm not struggling and I'm not rich. Like I afford nice clothes on special occasion. Like for right now, this week I bought a pair of Converse and they came in and that was the coolest shit to me. Because prior to that, I would wear discounted Adidas shoes at like I don't know, like Bell's Outlet or some shit, like an outlet store.
Yeah, or like a thrift store off the rack.
Right. And there are times where I have to think back and go, yeah, this would never happen back then. I would just wear whatever I had until it like had thousands of holes into it, you know, and then somehow find money to get a new pair.
Yeah. And you know, what's funny is my height and my like, this sounds really sad, but you know, I like how I look. I'm coming into liking how I am, and especially with my facial hair coming through finally after 24
Looks sick.
years.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, but like most of my clothes I've worn from middle school and high school, and they have holes in them. They're old. And here's the thing too is, and I hope this comes across as genuine and not arrogant. A lot of clothes that I have, you know, are gifts, are presents, are stuff like that. And my brother-in-law, bless him, he has an amazing style taste, would give me trash bags full of clothes that he no longer wears.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
then, cause like, you know, they already give like a surplus of clothes to Purple Heart, which is a donation thing in our area. But we also do that at my house. We've done that ever since I was young. So it's like if you didn't have shoes, socks, you're not allowed to give underwear because, you know,
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
the stuff. But you know, your general top wear garments, I would give those away. But also, I was told one time, it's like, why would you give clothes away and not some of your money? And I was like, because sadly, that goes to the discussion of like, you know, with billionaires, it's kind of like, okay, they can give money away. But then the discussion is like, how does that fervently and equally get passed to organizations and charities and all that stuff to actually help people? Which is, you know, that's a whole nother topic for something else. But I was like, my family and I, we got a lot of the stuff that we've gotten over years. And I think when everyone sees like the culmination of years of content all together, they think, oh, you have like a flat screen, you have a gaming PC, you have a tablet computer, you have a microphone. Like, the preconceived notion that you got that all at once and then you have to explain. Yeah, again, then you have to explain yourself, saying, no, we didn't get this all at once because we're not made of money. Like,
Yeah, that's hard to explain to some people. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interject, but like the stuff I have, I look around, I'm like, yeah, this is crazy. Like the other day, I looked at all my synthesizer stuff I got for music. Now, 2 years ago, I didn't have any of this shit. This came through paycheck, through saving, and it's now accumulated to quite a decent collection that I would estimate is around $2,000.
And to like,
which is unheard of, by the way. That's
like,
crazy to me.
To avidly run on your coattails, like I've been with Ricky for almost the entire time. Like there were months where Ricky was talking about wanting to get an OP1 at a good deal.
God
and
damn. Yes.
And when he finally got it, it was like tinkering with it, doing all the settings, happy as like a pig in shit. And for me, it's like, I personally haven't bought myself something new since before the pandemic started. And I got the Surface.
Oh, so you love that thing.
I love the Surface so much.
Yes, I remember that was your big treat.
But it's like...
Prior to that, you had a crappy gaming laptop, right?
No, just a normal... This is gonna hurt you, by the way, and this is where some privilege is gonna come out for me. But it's like, I had an Intel Core i3 processor laptop from 2016 versus my Surface Pro 7 Intel Core i7 processor. Makes a big difference in productivity, I will say. But to be just more of a modern take was the Blue Snowball. Like this little dinky thing that I just used for recording, because I don't sing, I don't voice act, I don't do anything. It's just Ricky and I recording podcasts. It's like the amount of serotonin just having this thing that makes me feel professional gives. And like I made sure it was within my budget.
That's where the real value comes from.
Yeah. Because, oh god, Ricky, I need you to pop off. I need you to pop off. Say what you said to me about, like, technology and everything.
Oh.
Please.
Oh, about the turd analogy?
Please. Pop off. Pop off.
Okay, motherfuckers, you ready? Let me stand on my soapbox. No, I'm kidding. Look, I have had people come to me in DMs. Oh, Richard, what kind of music software do you use? Hey, Ricky, what kind of effects do you use? What editing program do you use on your video effects? Hey, Ricky, what? Look, it doesn't matter if you have the latest and greatest program. It doesn't matter if you have the one that I use or the one that like some other DJ or producer uses. What matters is your talent, what you know. And the same thing applies to streamers, podcasters. You don't need the latest and greatest microphone. You don't need a $500 microphone to sound good. Jake has one for $60. It sounds amazing, right? Yeah. You don't need to spend all of this money and think, literally, I've had people, they've spent, I want to say $2K on a gaming setup, got the neon lights, got the fucking green screen, the Ethan Klein podcast style mic, the little shotgun one, gaming chair, PewDiePie chair, whatever the fuck. Literally, a little streamer deck with the buttons. You watch their stream, they're just reacting to videos, their freaking mouth open the whole time, go, not being entertaining, no personality at all. And that's what I mean. You will get an audience if your personality is there. And this stems back to you on YouTube. If you're being fake, people will know and they will not watch it. That is bottom line. They also don't want to watch overproduced garbage. You could have all the effects in the world, but if it's shit, it's still shit. It just has glitter on it. Ooh, it's pretty shit. Like, come on. I'm just sick of that. People thinking they can buy their way to a certain point or that they can cheat code their way and skip the steps that are necessary to build themselves up to that point. You cannot do that. You could cheat on all the tests in the world. At the end of the day, you didn't learn anything. You just passed.
Yeah, and I think what you say works as a flip side analogy where it's like, do you ever see those videos on like Instagram or any short stories where it's like, what happened to X? Because
yes.
When it's like, what happened to all the creative people? What happened to all the individual people? It's like, they were gone because they got beaten out by, like, your, like, 15,000 dude that sounds like Chills being like, number 15, Burger King foot lettuce. And it's like, no one wants to hear you impersonating Chills, who, I love Chills. Chills, if you ever see this, I love your videos.
He's a great guy, yeah.
And how he talks for his videos, that's iconic to him. That way and mannerisms of
There
how
are
Chills...
tons of horror channels. Sorry, I watched some of them. They're all like, hey guys, welcome to the horror scary channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about the lady who lost her fingers. And it's just music in the background. And it's really like dark blood visual. And I'm like, wow, you all do the same shit.
But you know what? To like talk about personality, Chills has a personality.
He does.
And what's
You seen his music? It's great.
Oh, his music's really good.
That's where I saw a lot of his personality.
But like the way Chills does videos is Chills is riding off the coattails of his stuff via legends or conversation. And
Or the
when you
meme.
go in, yeah. Or it's like you go in there and it's like he doesn't use these wah musics. He uses these vague visuals of the creepypasta stuff in video recordings. He'll circle it with a red circle, and it's up to you and your crazy imagination to figure out what is actually happening in that video, while Chills just has some creepy music and the way he speaks. So yeah, it's rounding this out. I think a lot of what Ricky and I want to say from this conversation is I'm thinking about this real hard. When it comes to this, be yourself. If you are also like, if you ever get into a space where you can over-explain yourself in a good way, or you need to, or there are common places where you do need to over-explain yourself to defend yourself. There are those situations, and we don't want you to ever disregard having to over-explain yourself. But this just derives from the primary instigator of wishing that it's like when you're in a place of common ground, you shouldn't have to do it. Like Ricky and I shouldn't have to explain why X reason or why Y reason. It's just there's that. There's the want for also like just simplicity and community, where it's like I didn't like this thing of X thing, and people just accept that. You can ask why and have a discussion on it, but it's like, okay, then don't take someone else's opinion as a personal attack, which, again, is real hard because not a lot of us had, a good discussion, what's the word? Debate. Not a lot of us had a good debate background because we were always told we were wrong, or it was a phase, or it was a mindset of this generation, in quotes.
I used to be in a debate class actually in middle school. I forgot about that.
I wish I was. Debating now still makes me rather upset because I have a winning problem. And if I don't win in a debate, I feel like I'm absolute shit. When disclaimer, everyone, in a debate's not meant to be won. A debate is meant to make people, the audience or your opponent, see your side. That's all a debate is supposed to be, though sadly the United States doesn't have the best people who debate. But
no, it's always about who won. I don't know. I hate that.
That's a discussion for something else.
Well, politics aside, a lot of people think that a debate has to have a clear winner. Like, no, it's supposed to make you leave and then think from things from a different perspective. But, don't try to change the other person's mind. Just come where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I mean, Ricky
kind of
and
what this
I,
is.
Yeah, this is what this is, because Ricky and I had a massive disagreement for this episode. I almost was like, I don't want to do this topic because this does come from an emotional place for me. But it's important because, again, like we said, you're not the main character in the world. There are so many people that have the same common issues. And sometimes to be heard on that stuff is super important. So it's like, to like slowly round this out into something that's a little more comical, because I do find ADHD to be something that, you know, isn't debilitating. Like, God, what can I say? A lot of times when, like, say Ricky and I would be in our past episodes, and I'd have to over-explain something, I could get lost in my own words because of how my brain goes, and then I've lost the point. And I've seen that numerous times in the past 5 episodes. And it's not to Ricky's fault, it's not to mine. I just get so lost in a good example that I can't remember the footing that I had. And, I will say, to toot my own horn, being a podcast host with ADHD is very hard. It's so hard.
I think you're doing a good job.
I think what's bad about ADHD for me is I have a narrator in my head who doesn't shut up. And
he's like, you're flubbing on this. Hurry up, talk, hello. You know,
yeah, it's quite literally that. And I hate using this word because this is a word that's lost meaning, but to be in a normal or neurotypical person's brain, to think about there not being a narrator in your head for when you're reading, for when you're playing a game, when you're just having a simple thought, it's like, I can't perceive that. Or when other ADHD people will say, hey, I'm on a steroid, or I'm on a pill now that like makes my brain go quiet. I'm like, your brain can go quiet? That's a thing?
Like, one of our friends, I won't out them, but they recently have been starting ADHD meds, and they've been working great, except for the fact that they lost 8 hours playing Bloodborne, phased back into reality, and realized they spent their whole day playing a game and never leaving the room. And they're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, this is pretty common when it comes to, I think there's a lot of disorders where this can happen. But I actually had this once happen to me, and it was really weird. So when I was younger, and my ADHD has kind of, you know, has dwindled down with time. I like to say dwindled down, but when I'm with friends, I be popping.
Popping down.
I used to have dissociative episodes where nothing bad, right? It would be just like, you know, when they say like the 1,000-yard stare, or you're daydreaming. And
yes,
you just,
fuck, you like space the hell out.
Yeah, like I did that, no joke, for a solid 45 minutes. And I came back to, like, I was watching a SpongeBob episode, like, in a summer when I was younger. And just, like, brain checked out, no channels going, no one's home. And when I came to, I, like, freaked out. Because my mouth was dry, there was drool on the couch, my eyes were, like dry, even though I was blinking still when I was disassociating. And I was just like, am I okay?
Oh no, you poor thing.
And, you know, again, I need to preface this. Ricky and I are not your therapists. We're not licensed specialists. And
yes, we are.
I'm gonna fight you. But I think talking about ADHD is that being one of the major key factors in my life still, because depression, that's an ongoing battle. You don't get rid of that. It just is an ongoing battle, and you have your great
Just
days.
get over it.
I'm gonna come down to Florida. I'm gonna beat your cheeks.
Look, just get over it. Yeah, go on.
But it's like, for you, Ricky, since we're just having our wrap up, what is a funny or like weird or anything? Because you've dealt obviously with ADHD longer than I friggin' have. So it's like,
I've been on every pill in the world and then didn't take them anymore. Now I'm free. Yes. What do you need? What you want?
What are some weird personal ADHD things to you? Because I'm sure I have some of these that I'm gonna relate to. Because like both of us We got voices in our heads.
I feel guilty if I don't have a project or something that I'm doing. Like, if I'm not doodling or working on a song, or even if I'm not talking to someone, I'm just idle, I feel immediately anxious because my brain is just like, you gotta do something. We got this energy. We gotta get rid of it. We have to do something right now.
Bitch, is that an ADHD thing? Because if that is, oh my god, that explains so much with my work.
Like, yeah, and also you'll hyperfixate. Like my friend who was on his pills.
Oh no. No, we're talking about hyperfixation. Oh god.
I'm just saying, sometimes I will be in. I've talked about this in a call. It's an ADHD thing, medicated, unmedicated. Let's say I'm hanging out with like 9 other people in a Discord call. I open up something to do in the background because talking isn't enough. My brain needs something else to do, so I'm making a song. There's been times where I've zoned out for an entire hour. Everyone's been talking, hooting, hollering, not even noticing that like I'm not talking. And I would miss the whole conversation simply because I've been working on the song. And same thing in real life with real life people. I could be working on work, and there'd be people around me talking to me, and then I wouldn't even know they're there. 10 minutes later, I look at them and go, what? Can you explain all that again? I was focused, sorry.
Oh, you know, it's one of the craziest things that I had a hyperfixation on. Again, it was like a dissociate, because hyperfixation can be like a whole dissociative episode until something abrupts
It can also
you.
be a topic too, by the way. Like, you could be obsessed with Mega Man for 3 months and then just not even touch the game again.
Oh gosh.
That's a huge ADHD thing. Like, for me, it was Mega Man, and then it was a SCP Foundation, and now I haven't touched that in forever. I have random, like, sudden interests, and you dive in head first. No, nothing held back.
Well, yeah,
Full
it's like,
force into it, and then you just, I'm bored of it.
it's like when I was gonna get a new phone. It's like I hyperfixated on the Note 10, and
Right.
then as like a project, like as a real tangible thing, I was working on a life-size self-portrait of myself that we had to do for school, and 2.5 hours of an art class slipped away in the blink of an eye, and I came to, and I was just like, I had my headphones in, and my professor like came up to me,
Oh,
and
shit.
apparently, like, she came up to me, and she's like, Jake, you can go. Class is over. I was like, excuse me? And I was just
What?
like, yeah, and she was just like, are you okay? I was like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, ma'am. My 2.5 hours just went away because I completely hyperfixated on this. And she was a younger teacher, and she's like, I understand.
You
And
get
then
in the
she just-
zone.
yeah, and like all the students were already gone around me. Like they folded up their pictures, they were rolled into their portfolios, they were gone. And
Wow.
I think the only other thing that I've ever hyperfixated on recently has been writing for my story, because dear God, I'm not a writer by any chance. And when I'm forced to write something for school, hated it. But whenever you're doing anything for yourself, it's great. But I will tell you guys something, because I hate this. Say like I'm going downstairs to the kitchen, right?
Right.
And let's just say I'm with a roommate or parents or what have you. And they say, hey, can you take the trash out? It's like, hey, I was gonna do that. That's what I was coming down here to do. But now that you told me to do it,
I
the
have no
reverse
interest. Yeah.
the reverse psychology that I had to do on myself to get this to go outside, you just undid. Or it's like,
God, I
another
feel
thing-
that.
or another thing I would do is I would do the like appreciative thing, or the prize aspect of something, where it's like, hey, I want to go out and get lunch, so let me take the garbage out to the trash can, and then take the trash can to the curb. Then I don't have to worry about it later, and I can chill in bed eating my Taco Bell knowing I don't have to do this later. Did that just reach into your soul a little bit?
Fuck yeah. Like, I am definitely, I want to get everything done so I can do nothing.
Yeah.
And when other people, like, let's just say my roommate or my sister or someone like that, they want me to do it on their schedule, their time, that just fucks with me mentally.
Because you gotta mentally prepare and like rev up for it.
Yeah, everything has to be a schedule, or if it's not a schedule, it has to be on like my own time. And it's not like a laziness thing. It's just like in my head, there's this whole agenda and time frame that things need to get done.
Oh yeah, because it's like here's the thing. Compared to a normal person, someone with anxiety that when that's paired with ADHD, that doesn't work very well. So it's like you really you gotta gas yourself up for it. You gotta be prepared, because if something spontaneous comes up and it erupts your day,
That could fuck your whole day up.
Yeah, it's not impossible to do, but you're gonna be drained like a battery. And it is not a good time when you have to be an extrovert, like in 5 seconds, when your entire Saturday you plan to be an introvert. And then your social
And then out of
battery's
nowhere, like let's say your mom or someone comes by, hey, we're gonna do lunch with this person randomly, and you're like, fuck, this was my introvert day.
Yeah, this is my recharge day.
Yeah, like this was me. This was my time.
This is why Ricky and I could have just an entire podcast in and of itself on ADHD in our personal lives. Again, different for everyone else. But maybe the next episode, just for some shits and giggles, because here's the thing, there's bad things that come with being ADHD. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. There are bad things that come with having ADHD. Yes. But there are also like a lot of cool things and a lot of weird things that come with this. And I think one of the weirdest things that I wish and hope that maybe we can describe more is our narrator. Because again, it's not like we're hearing voices that are telling us to do bad things or like, commit crimes. But it is like a narrator of like, it's kind of like just your mind is constantly talking. And what's weird is the voice in my head is kind of like this, almost like this, oh god, what would I even say? Like this 80s, 90s news reporter. Like, it's kind of voice that narrates every single thing.
Today, Jake, we'll play Final Fantasy till 8 p.m.
Kind of like that, but a little more towards our time, talking more bluntly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how it is in my head all the time. And when I tell people this, they look at me like I need to be put in an asylum.
Yeah, they would think you're crazy. Because that's not socially normal. But for me, I get it. Like, I get that. I talk to myself like, oh, dude, we gotta go mow the lawn. Oh, fuck, do we have to? Yeah, man, let's just get out of the way, and then we can eat Chick-fil-A later. It's kind of like a reward to ourselves, because, like, we didn't want to get up out of bed today, but we did. Yeah, you're kind of right. Oh, fuck, I think my friend's getting on at 4 o'clock. Oh, well, we should get online and hang out with them at 4 o'clock. Ah, good idea. Oh, hey, don't wear those shoes. Why not? Those aren't the grass shoes. Oh, you're right. Thank you. Okay. Gets the grass shoes, puts them on, goes mow the lawn.
That is so true. Because it's like, for me, it's like I also have like standard things that I have to do, where it's like I wear Crocs when I cut the grass because I don't want to get my shoes that have white soles on them dirty and green. So I'm like, hey, let's wear Crocs, because this is also a feeling that we're used to doing when we're doing this. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. It's like, hey, you should also grab your earbuds, because
you're gonna want to listen to music. Oh,
yeah, and they'll cancel out the sound. And it's also like the night before. It's like, oh hey, I have to cut the grass tomorrow. Let me make sure my headphones are charged. Plugs in the charging thing. Then it's like, okay, now I just need to go to bed. But I also like don't want to sleep because my brain's active. So what am I gonna do? Just keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes closed and start thinking of stories. And eventually you'll just pass out. All the time.
And then halfway while you're passing out, remember that thing you did in 3rd grade that was embarrassing? Oh, fuck.
Actually, have you ever had this thing, though, where I have had this because I have paranormal activity stuff? Because I've heard my name, like, be almost shouted at my ear when I'm drifting out of that literal state, that state of consciousness where if you're woken up during it, you're up. If you pass out during it, you're out. It's like right when, like, you're really, like, just succumbing to sleep. But if you get woken up during it, you're absolutely livid you'll do whatever the person is coming to bother you about, but you damn well hope that they leave you the hell alone after you've done it, or else it's a foot up their ass.
I've had something kind of similar, but different. Well, probably entirely different. I've had a feeling where, and I get it once in a while, I'll lay in bed, falling asleep, you feel yourself falling asleep, you're peaceful. Next thing you know, it feels like you're falling, like your leg is falling downward, and you're like, oh! Like you fucking jitter, and then you're just up. You're like, fuck!
Actually, because I'm curious,
Oh.
there actually is that. Let me see. What is the sensation people have when they feel like they're falling out of their bed?
I think it's because, like, your leg, your arm, whatever body part, usually it's my leg, falls asleep before the rest of the body. It, like, relaxes too early.
This is called a hypnic jerks, or hypnagogic jerks, or sleep starts, which indicate a person falling into a deep sleep and their body slowly starting to relax.
Yeah.
But they say because when you're sleeping, obviously your body is slowing down, and sometimes your brain... Obviously, the hardest thing is getting your brain to slow down. So when your brain slows down, the signals that are getting sent through your body, I believe, just slow down too. Like, your entire body slows down when you fall asleep. So it's like, it's probably like whatever that limb is, or whatever, is just like not... It's like, it gets the memo. But it gets the memo too late, and it's like, oh god.
It's like, fuck, we were falling asleep, okay.
And then you're just like, oh god damn it, why did I have to get that? And it's not enough to make you not want to go back to sleep and get comfortable, but it's like...
It just scares you, like a jump scare for a second, like, oh shit, oh, okay.
Also, here's the thing, I sleep on a... This is the last thing I'll talk about since we're going over our time limit a little bit, but I had to talk about this stuff, is...
Yeah.
I have a queen-size bed.
Yes, queen.
I sleep on the edge still.
Same.
And I sleep on the edge with my fan, like... And here's the thing, too. Like, my headboard is actually where my feet are. Because I sleep near my fan. So I sleep at my, like, the... I don't know what you call it. Like, the footboard or whatever. I don't know bed terminology.
Yeah, it is a headboard.
But it's like, my feet are at the headboard. My head is at the bottom of the bed. And I sleep that way. And I'm like... I have, like, all the rest of this bed. But you know what all the rest of this bed has? It's got the squish, it's got pushing, it's got plushies, it's got pillows.
And plushies, and you want to make room for them.
And I'm like, I've essentially just made the virginity corner, and then I sleep on the, like... And then I just sleep on, like, the one part of my bed that's barren with my weighted pillow. But,
The
I guess...
virginity corner.
But I guess, Ricky, since, like, I've said my piece, is there anything that you want to say before we close out this episode?
About the pee.
Didn't you pee before this?
Yes! I'm sorry, that got me. No, I'm good. The virginity corner.
I gotta show you that meme later.
Oh god.
But we hope that you all liked this episode. This is a little bit different. This is more just Ricky and I being a little more casual than we usually are with our like topic-to-topic episodes.
I'd equate it to us just talking. We happen to be recording.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Dude, there's been some conversations you and I have that I'm like, God, I wish this was recorded. But also, like, this is a lot more less PC than what we could probably put on the channel. But ooh, some of the things we've talked about in private, good-ish. But, you know, reasons. But, I guess, if you don't have anything else to say,
follow me on YouTube, Sankfox. There.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that's it, everyone. If you all liked this episode of the Middleton Nighttime Broadcast, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, head over to Ricky's channel. His end card will be at the end of the video and down below. And try to catch up on his streams. I've been on one episode for 3 minutes, and then I've been on the second episode for the entire thing. So, if you want more of Ricky and I being stupid together, there you go. So, yeah, also this episode's going up in December, so hope everyone has a good holiday, and we hope that whatever may come of 2023, dear God, let's hope it's good. I wish you all
Please.
a great holiday season, And dear God, Ricky, imaginary, just like hold my hand with me for this part.
I'm holding it right now.
May we have a good 2023.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
If this comes out on a holiday, happy holidays. And I hope you have a great rest of the year. I'm assuming this is gonna be December or November, so.
Yeah, this episode 6 is going to be in lovely old December.
Well,
Which
cozy
good.
on up. It's probably
Yeah.
still cold. Get a hot chocolate or whatever your thing is. Maybe it's a coffee and just have a relaxing evening on up.
And I don't think I discussed this with you, Ricky, but the Middleton Nighttime broadcast will be getting an updated look via the next episode.
Yes!
So things might be a little
Season 2, baby.
Yeah. I'm aware that we didn't technically have a full season for the 12 months, but obviously that's kind of what you get when you start halfway through the year.
Technical
But
Season 2, baby.
I'm looking at it as a season 2. I'm looking at season 1 as almost like a Kickstarter, seeing if we liked what we're doing, and obviously we do. And this is the most like, what would I say? The most like stable version of what we've done. But I'm currently almost finished with the set for our season 2 that will be coming for our next recording, and it'll be a little bit different. Ricky and I have our PNG tubers. We fully intend to use them, and I hope that you guys will enjoy a bit more of something that is almost like a visualizer for you guys to look at, and I don't know, something more to add a voice to a imaginary face instead of just hands, coffee, a microphone, and space. So, yeah, but that's it. We hope that you guys have a fabulous holiday season, and oh god, this is really weird to say since we're still so far into 2022, but we hope you guys have a great 2023 New Year's celebration, and try not to get too crunk on New Year's.
Or do.
Okay. Or do. Get those edibles. Okay.
Those
We will see you all later. Bye-bye.